Welcome to the Lemon Positivity Podcast. I'm Billy Highland. I am excited to have you join me in this episode, which is super meaningful for me, and it is all about mastering your mindset. And just like my other episodes, I want to start off with a quote that will get us thinking, that will put us in the right mindset of the topic that I want to share with you today and give you my thoughts and my perspective on why our mindset and our thoughts are so important to helping us live a better everyday life. So, the quote for this episode goes like this: all that we are is the result of what we have thought. And that's by Buddha. Now, there are many quotes that I was looking through to find which one do I want to start this episode with. And I thought, who better than the master of mindset and thought and meditation and everything that Buddha stands for than Buddha himself. So the quote, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. So let's break that down a little bit. All that we are. So that could mean a culmination of the things we have, our values, our strengths, our weaknesses, what we do in life, what fulfills us, our spirit. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. Everything, as you know, begins with a thought. This podcast for me began with a thought. Began with my idea and thinking about, I want to create a podcast. I want to have a channel to be able to communicate, to share the things that I have learned over the past few years that have helped me make a transformation, that have helped me change, that have helped me to become a better version of myself. And for a long time, I kept collecting those thoughts and recording my thinking and writing down notes of what I wanted to do with a podcast, what it would be, what would be the name of it. Those all started with a thought. So I really think it's interesting here with Buddha. All that we are is the result of a thought. Now, again, there are many quotes that I could bring to the table here. One more that I'll just say that you may have heard of this gentleman, you may have not. He is one of the motivational, inspirational speakers, leaders, teachers from 50, 60 years ago, and his name is Earl Nightingale. We become what we think about. We become what we think about, our thoughts. So as we go through this episode together, I want to talk about, again, the importance of mindset, our mind, and our thoughts. And let me just start by why this is so important to me. Having turned half a century old, 50 years old, I look back on my life, and I've been on this personal growth journey for 15 or so years, but really it started to take root in the last 5 years or so. But I look back and I wish that someone had taught me about the power of my mind and thinking and thoughts and how that would impact my life, how that would impact outcomes of my life, the direction, how I felt about myself, how I felt about others. I never had that schooling. They don't teach you that in school. I never had that mentor or someone to guide me and show me and really help me understand how powerful thoughts are in your thinking and how that could direct where you go in life. So I'm here today because I want to share what I've been learning and what I practice that will help you put yourself in a proper positive mindset. And that's why it's so important to me. And it's also something that I teach my boys, they're 10 and 8, as they're growing up. I want them to understand the power of their minds. And right now I do it through coaching with the sports that they're in. And my oldest son is very cerebral and is very thought oriented and breaks down. He plays soccer and really breaks it down. And my other son is super emotion driven, right? And he, could easily get upset if he doesn't score a goal or if something goes wrong. So I have to manage both of them, and I have to teach them both in different ways to help them understand about their mind and the thoughts they have and what it means. Now, you may have heard someone say, and I'm not sure where it came from, but a mentor of mine has repeated it to me: if you think you can or can't, you're right. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so I tell this to my boys often when they're challenged with something new, or I hear them say, I can't do something, and I have them explain it a little bit more. What are they thinking? What are their thoughts around either they can't do something or they can? And I'm trying to get them into that mindset of when you see an obstacle or a challenge and you are afraid or you think you can't, half of the battle is happening up here between our ears. And we need to be aware of our thoughts. Our thoughts become things. We become our thoughts. So if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. So our minds are such a powerful ancient tool, and they're there to serve and protect us, but not always in our best interests. So for me growing up, I always had this story that I told myself that I wasn't enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't creative, I wasn't athletic enough. So I created this story in my mind and these thoughts. And so what happens throughout the years, you start attracting that, and you start to see examples of like, well, I failed at this, or that didn't happen for me. That didn't turn out so well. See? Well, that is the story that I've created with my thoughts. And I've had to learn to turn it around, because it is so easy to go down a path of thinking negative versus positive. And let me flip that. It's easy to have a positive mindset. It's also easy to have a negative mindset and the challenges that come with it. So let's also talk about mindset. As I was mentioning earlier, I turned 50, so having a mindset at 50 versus 40 versus 30 versus in your 20s, whether you're in your 60s, it's a different mindset. So here I am at 50, and my mindset could go two ways. One, I'm getting closer to the end of my life. Or is it, I am just beginning my life. I am just getting started. I have so much experience and knowledge and wisdom and energy and vitality that I am just getting started. That 50 is a new beginning for me. And there's still so much for me to accomplish in the years ahead. Versus a mindset that says, I'm turning 50. I'm getting old. My body aches. I'm forgetful. I'm going to be out of a job because it'll go to younger people. Retirement's going to happen. Maybe. Will it happen? I don't know. But you see the two mindsets. And then as someone who's 50 years old, and so I choose to have that mindset of this is a new beginning, a new chapter, the next chapter in my story. And I take all that I have learned from my past, and that has propelled me into the future of that compelling future of who do I want to become 5, 10, 15, 20 years for myself. And I use a lot of visualization and goal setting. And I use my mind and my power of thinking and thoughts to map out, to visualize, to think, to attract who and what I want to become, and even who I am today and who I want to become today. And it starts with our minds. So I know there's probably a lot of challenges out there for others that are my age, and I've been through it. I struggle on a daily basis with my thoughts. As soon as I get out of bed, I'm like, a million thoughts are racing through my head, but I am able to be aware of it, and I'm always able to spot. It's like, whoa, where did that thought come from? That was a while ago, or that didn't happen, or this. Like, where did that thought come from? And I've learned it's a river. Thoughts are like a river that flow continuously. And what you want to do is be aware. They're okay. Because you're never going to get rid of them. But they're flowing like a river, and accept that they're flowing like a river, and you can pay attention to it, or you can be like, there's that thought again. Okay, let it pass. Let it go. Let it go. And so many people who reach, 40s, 50s, 60s or whatnot, your midlife crisis or whatnot, if you will, imagine your thoughts. Whether you're facing a challenge in your career in your midlife, whether you're facing a challenge with your relationships in your midlife, family, friends, financial. Imagine that if your mindset isn't reinforced, if you are not aware of how are your thoughts, are they serving you, or are they adding resistance, especially at this precious age of as you're going in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatnot, really understanding how thoughts where they can lead you if you let them. And my advice is to always be aware of the thoughts that serve you versus the ones that don't serve you. So it's very important when it comes to our age, or even if you're younger and you're, say your 50s are not too far in the future, because it does come quickly. What is your mindset currently? What do you want your mindset to be at that age? And remember to focus on the things that serve you. And so I want to help you today adopt a positive growth mindset. And how can we do it? One, it starts with being aware of our thoughts and our thinking. Let me give you an example. We're going to talk a little bit about positive self-talk and negative self-talk. We've all done it. I still do it to this day. The great thing is I catch myself right away and I'm able to change it. Or at least I try my best to change it as quickly as possible so I don't stay in that state of mind if I'm talking negatively about myself. Because how does that serve you? So we all have those moments. Before this podcast, I was thinking, gosh, I'm so dumb. Who am I to talk about mindset? Who am I to teach others about this? I don't have any special degree, psychology, or anything like that. Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm stupid. Those are all the thoughts that pop up in my mind constantly that I have to battle with and say, you know what? Is that 100% true? Are those thoughts that I'm having that I'm not good enough, smart enough, I'm not worthy, who am I? Are those 100% true? No. I've been on this earth for 50 years. I've made plenty of mistakes. I've learned, I've had plenty of experiences, ups and downs, just like anybody else, and I'm giving my perspective on the things that I have done to change my life and to ensure that I am headed in a positive trajectory. And it starts with the quality of our thinking and our thoughts and our mindset. I used to struggle for many years, not as much now, because I'm super hyper aware of it and I have reinforced that muscle. And that's all around confidence. I never had confidence. And I also had a very low self-esteem. And I've learned that confidence comes with doing and taking action. We're not confident because we haven't taken action or we haven't practiced something. And so when you do it, you start to exercise that confidence muscle, and then your mindset shifts. I came across another mentor who shared something that I really liked, that it's okay to suck at something when you start it, which makes a lot of sense. Anytime you start something new, you're going to suck at it, and it's okay. And it's okay to own it. And you might not have that much confidence because you've just started and you haven't done it. You haven't put in the reps. It takes time. Confidence builds over time. The more you practice something, the more time you put into it, experience. And so where I'm at right now in life, looking back at all my experiences, it has reinforced my confidence and my thinking. I no longer wallow in the negative self-talk. Why did I do this? Oh, I'm so stupid. How could I have let that happen? What was I thinking? No. Instead, I look for the positive in any situation. And I've learned to look for the positive even in a challenging situation. What's it supposed to mean? What's it supposed to teach me? What am I going to learn from this? What I'm saying is, anytime you have a choice, negative, positive. Again, it's easy to go either way. I'd probably say it's easier to go negative than it is positive. But once you are aware, if you start to have some self-doubt, negative self-talk or thoughts, you become aware of it, and then you can put a stop to it and shift it and start to focus on those things and those ideas and those thoughts that serve you, that are positive. And we're going to get into some of the different habits that I do, that I've learned, that will put me in a positive mindset that can help you as well. And we'll get to that a little later. But first, let's talk about a growth mindset. So, talked about a positive mindset. Let's talk about a growth mindset and how important that is for everybody, especially as we get older. I thought when I was young, when I graduated college, that was it. I didn't need to study anymore. I didn't need to learn, go to school, acquire knowledge or skills. And that was my mindset, which didn't serve me because it wasn't a growth mindset. I have since learned to adopt a growth mindset and the idea that we should be continually learning. And for the most part, we are in our daily lives. There are things that pop up, challenges that help us, that challenge our thinking, that do force us to learn something. But if you adopt that growth mindset, you are continually learning. You are continually growing. You are continually acquiring new skills to help you grow. Because learning never ends. And I would encourage you to surround yourself with those who are better than you, smarter than you, have more experience. And let's face it, this is something that I tell my kids, and this is something I want to share with you as well. No one is better than you, smarter than you. Just as you are no better, you are no smarter than anyone else. We are all human beings. But we have the opportunity, especially as we're getting older, to ensure that we continually flex those muscles of our mind. Just as when it comes to the importance of energy and physiology, exercise and weight training to our bodies, there are things we can do to adopt a growth mindset, like reading, which is exercising our brains. Maybe it's listening to podcasts like this where you learn something new or reinforce habits, good positive habits. Or maybe it's, and we'll talk a little bit about this, meditation, so you become aware of your thoughts and you're able to change your state of mind in an instant. You are in control. So it's important when it comes to mastering our mindset to adopt a growth mindset. Always be learning. Always be feeding your mind. And that reminds me of another great thing that I heard from a mentor. His name is Jim Rohn. And he says, stand guard at the doorway of your mind. Stand guard. Filter what comes in from the outside. We are so bombarded with social media and so much negativity in the world. Stand guard of what you take in. Filter what comes in your mind, right? Because your mind is like a garden and weeds can pop up. And just like I was out yesterday in our garden weeding, and I'm like, God, these weeds, they just keep popping up. Well, if we didn't take care of it, soon enough, all these weeds would just proliferate and kill all the flowers. But we constantly have to be on the guard, and we constantly have to be on the watch out for weeds and keep home. So think of that for your mind, of what goes in, to stand guard at the doorway of your mind and filter what goes in. Another great thing that Jim Rohn, now he is another person, he's passed away many years ago, another influential motivational speaker that I've listened to. And he uses the analogy of if your enemy poured sugar in your coffee, what would happen? Nothing. You'd have really sweet coffee. Well, what if your friend accidentally dropped strychnine into your coffee? You'd be dead. Watch your coffee. Watch your mind. Protect your mind. Stand guard at the doorway of your mind. Positive mindset. growth mindset, positive self-talk versus negative self-talk. As I wind this episode down, and we'll talk about mindset in many, many more episodes because I can't cover everything here, but I just wanted to get you thinking. If you start to be aware each and every day of your thoughts and ask yourself this question, if a negative thought pops up, or if you're talking negatively about yourself, ask this question: are you 100% certain this is true? Or is this 100% certain? Is this 100% correct? 9 times out of 10, it's not. It's just our thinking, what's going on between our ears, that's getting in the way of us living a better everyday life. So, what can we do? What are some habits, Billy, that we can do to help us live a better life, to help us have a positive mindset, a growth mindset? There are a bunch. I would say the number one habit to ensure a growth mindset is to read every day. 15 to 30 minutes every day. Super simple. Listen to an audio book. Listen to a podcast. But read. What I've learned is the power of reading other people's stories and learning from their experiences, and then how can I apply it to my life? So read. Whether that's autobiographies, whether that's nonfiction or fiction, that's up to you. But read. Exercise that mind. Another habit of mine that I like to do is meditation. And it could be simple as 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. But it's sitting quietly. And I'll challenge you to try meditation, because there is no right or wrong way. And it's super difficult at times because we think we should be doing something. And the great thing about meditation is don't do anything. You're still going to have the thoughts. They're still going to be there. Just be aware of them. That's the point. Breathe. And I want to teach you a really quick exercise. It's called release meditation, where you breathe in, breathe out, and repeat the word release. Release. And do that about 10 times. That's a quick release meditation. Other things that you can consider doing that all impact our mind and our thoughts are just some of the other habits that I've discussed in other episodes. Whether it's exercising, going for a walk, being out in nature, will all put you in that positive mindset. And also your physiology. If I was slumped over, how do you think I'm feeling? How do you think my mind is? Versus I'm upright, I've got gestures, I'm feeling vibrant, energetic, my mind is alert. So think about your physiology and how are you using your body? Because there's a connection, a mind-body connection, and the way your body goes, your mind will follow. So make sure that your body is in sync with your mind. Appreciation. Trading expectation for appreciation, the power of gratitude. We talked about that in a previous episode. Will put you in a positive mindset. So I want to leave you with this. If there is one thing to remember from what I've said, from what I've shared, from our quote today from Buddha, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. So think about, who do you want to become? What are the results you want in life? And start thinking like that person you want to become. Start having those thoughts that will give you those results. I hope you have the best day ever. This is Billy Hyland, the Lemon Positivity Podcast. Joy, peace, love, and lemon water.